Hi, it's Louise at Spiral Bright Insight, and this is a short video about the energies that we are working with and navigating through this weekend. Now I'm filming it on this video on Friday the 10th of November. We're already in a powerful month, certainly a powerful week, but the next few days are incredibly intense, and I've been feeling that there's really strong opportunities for us to really start to increase our awakening process. The energies are really ripe for it. So I wanted to talk you through what I mean by that, and I combine I work with galactic astrology, but in this video I'm talking mainly about mundane or traditional astrology and also some numerology as well. But all of it comes together really beautifully. So we're in Scorpio season at the moment. Now, Scorpio season is never particularly what you would describe as an easy ride. Scorpio is very much asking us to look at our shadow side with the intention of deep healing that is available when we do look at our shadow. But this involves going beneath the surface, looking at things that we have been maybe either sort of swept under the carpet or closed a cupboard door on, something that we don't really want to really look at because it makes us feel uncomfortable. You know, it could be painful, it could be shocking, it could be shameful, embarrassing. You know, Scorpio is about moving through really deep emotional states to be able to get to the point where you are able to release things that no longer serve you. So Scorpio energy is very much about shedding layers, letting go of what you don't need anymore. It's the sign of elimination. It's also all about power. So if there's situations where you've been giving your power away or being disempowered through a situation or another person, then you know you're going to start to see that with much more clarity as the sun moves through Scorpio, which it is doing at the moment. Now, on Wednesday, we had the Eagle's Gate, which is the 15-degree point of Scorpio. The sun activated the Eagle's Gate. So I did a post about that on my Instagram and Facebook channels, but really that was about us having access to kind of the Eagle's vantage point, if you like, sort of a higher awareness, a higher consciousness, and certainly a gateway. So yet another activation to raise the frequency, if you like. But it doesn't stop there. So today, 10th of November, we have got the planet Mercury, which is the planet that rules the way we think, the way our minds work, how we communicate, the information we're receiving and sharing, how we communicate and interact with other people, how we learn, what we're talking about, what we're writing about, and all those sort of areas. So very much about communication, the mind. Mercury is moving, or has moved just now, into Sagittarius, where it can have a lot of fun in Sagittarius, because Sagittarius energy is very much about taking us much higher than we maybe thought we might be able to go. Sagittarius wants us to see the bigger picture, to really tune into our belief systems, to look at things from a much higher vantage point, and, you know, to really treat this part, the next transit, as a journey, as an adventure. It's all about freedom, so freeing the mind from maybe, you know, fixed mindsets that we might have got kind of ourselves stuck in. And Sagittarius is really pushing Mercury out there to really consider things, like I said, that, you know, maybe we haven't thought about before. So this is an exciting transit, and there's an opportunity to really rise high and fly high in terms of what we're thinking about and talking about, and new ideas and new concepts coming in. There is a square to Saturn at the moment, because Saturn is at 0 degrees of Pisces. So while Mercury is still at 0 of Sag, and sort of in the next day or so, this square is active. And squares can be a little bit restrictive. The energies aren't really compatible, but they're having to interact with each other. Saturn normally wants to put some sort of stop on any planet that it's squaring. So it might be, in this case, wanting to sort of say to Mercury, hang on a minute, you know, don't get carried away. Let's come back down to earth and, you know, think about, you know, a reality check, if you like. But Saturn is in Pisces, and Saturn isn't very comfortable or very strong in Pisces, because Pisces doesn't really do reality checks, doesn't really do limitation or boundaries. So there is a little bit of a kind of jarring energy, but I don't feel that this square is really overly problematic for kind of pulling us back into the real world, if you like. So we have Mercury, and then tomorrow, this is, well, it's not the biggest one actually. We've got the 11/11 portal, and obviously the 11/11 is also Remembrance Day, so you know there's a lot of people, well, we're all thinking about people who've lost their lives and been injured and affected by war and conflict and combat. But the 11/11, when we're thinking about it in numerology and more spiritual terms, is an incredibly powerful number. Now, the 11/11 is about basically, if you think two pillars coming down, it is connecting the heavens to the earth. So this is a really potent time for sort of spiritual wisdom and channeled information to have a direct link. Now, the 11/11 is expanded because of the duplication, but we actually are working with an 11 master day tomorrow as well, because when you add the numbers in the date 11/11/2023, that all combines to make the 11. So we've got triple 11 energy, and this only happens every 9 years. So this is a big deal, especially when we look at what else is going on at the same time. So the 11 is a very cosmic, very spiritual, very inspiring number. It's the number of enlightenment. It is linked to Uranus, and I'm going to talk about Uranus in a minute. It's also linked to Aquarian energy, which is very galactic, very cosmic, very futuristic, all about humanity, the collective. And, you know, when we've got the 11, so we're thinking quantum, you know, we're moving our kind of our experience into the quantum field. We're getting more insight. We have closer connection to the divine. We can have more vision, more access to higher consciousness. So this is a really powerful time. And when I've been thinking about it, you know, the 11/11 is very much associated with starseed awakening, and it's said, and certainly it was my experience, that when you are going through a starseed awakening and awakening to the kind of greater truths about who you are and where you might have come from, sort of over and above being, you know, your sort of ego, personality and human self, you often see the repeating number 11/11, and that's said to signify starseed awakening, or being one of the signs that that's what you're going through. So it feels for me that, you know, this 11/11/11 is a massive portal for awakening for us all, because of the 11 is the collective as well. So there's a real opportunity here. There's so much energy coming through, and this is really, you know, saying we have an opportunity to awaken at a much greater level. And of course, it's going to look different for all of us, because we're all at a different stage, we're all at a different level. Not that, you know, it's an achievement thing or anything, but we're all at different stages. So but things are stirring, you know, things are being, we're getting a bit of a jolt is what I feel. And so, you know, we have this opportunity to walk through this energy, this portal, and really come out into a whole new awareness. I think that's kind of what I was feeling when I was tuning into it. Alongside all of this, we have got Uranus coming, well, it's in opposition to Mars at the moment, and that is going to be active for the next few days. Now, Uranus is the planet of awakening, so you can see the theme is continuing. Uranus wants us to really break out of where we have been, where we are no longer, where things aren't working. It's no longer right for us. And Uranus is working through Taurus at the moment. Now, this is a slow transit. But Uranus in Taurus, I actually heard someone, and I can't remember who it was, describe it as this transit as Uranus is helping to break us out of the matrix, which I thought was a really interesting way to put it. Taurus is fixed Earth. It links us back to planet Earth, to our bodies, but it's also about emotions and values, and where, you know, when we get fixed into our bodies and into our earthly lives, things can get really stuck. And Uranus is working through this planet and this transit to really break things apart and show us where we're doing things that really aren't fit for purpose anymore. They don't serve us anymore. It's, you know, where things have become really solidified and calcified. It can be, it's awkward when things like that get broken up. And so I really feel this is one of the biggest reasons why so many of us are struggling sort of emotionally, mentally at the moment with anxiety, and, you know, so much is going on for so many people. But it's because we don't have, with Uranus and Taurus, we don't have that stability. We don't have that sort of fixed ground to stand on at the moment, because everything has been shaken. And of course, Uranus is always doing this for our greatest and highest good. It isn't just random, you know, this is intentional. This is designed to really wake us up, you know, make us see that things cannot continue the way they have been going, and, you know, to make us look at new ways of living in our world, and new ways of valuing our world and each other and ourselves. But we've been fixed for a long time. So we're talking about eons of time and experience and ways being set in our ways. So this is really a time when we're being shaken out of it. Now, we have an opposition to Mars. So Mars is coming in to oppose Uranus, which adds a real kind of extra boost to this energy. Uranus is going to work all its way through Taurus, and it is going to take some time to do so. But there are times during this transit when it will interact with other planets, which kind of activate the energies more strongly. And this is one of those times. So Mars is very much like a catalyst. So it's kind of in Scorpio. Mars wants us to look at the shadow. We talked about that earlier in the video. It wants us to look at what has been hidden, what has been covered up and brushed under the carpet, because Mars knows that when we do that, that is where the freedom can be found, and that's where the deep healing can be accessed. But coming into this opposition with Uranus, it's like there's a real push-pull energy here. And of course, Mars in Scorpio is in fixed water. So fixed water is about our emotions, but where our emotions have maybe been repressed, or maybe they've even got to the point where they have solidified. And I was getting this image of fixed water as either ice, which needs to melt, or if you think in the caves where the water drips and it's got, I'm not great with geology, but is it calcite, where it forms, it actually becomes, you know, takes form, and they can be really hard to break off as well. So this is the kind of energy that we are dealing with. But Mars is very driven. Mars doesn't take any prisoners. It is there to get things moving, and obviously opposing Uranus, you know, there's a double dose of this kind of, right, you know, it's time, you know, we mean business. There's no more sitting around. There's no more opportunities to sweep things under the carpet and turn a blind eye or look the other way. That's not happening. You know, things have to come to the surface. So we are dealing with a weekend of energy that is very volatile, it's very erratic, it's potentially, well, chaotic, it would be an understatement, disruptive, unpredictable. You know, things are going to erupt out of where we maybe felt there was stability. That's not going to be the case, because things are literally, we're in a pressure cooker, and this opposition is really forcing things to come up and out through these fixed signs. So expect the unexpected is the message here. And, you know, it's, yes, we're setting out in a new direction. It's not necessarily going to be comfortable, because breaking through, you know, old ways, old habits is not always easy, particularly for the human race. We don't always cope with change very well. But this is really what's meant to happen. And then just to finish off, we've got a new moon in Scorpio on Monday. Now, Scorpio new moons and Scorpio full moons are always pretty intense and powerful, just because Scorpio energy is so potent and deep and intense. But this new moon, again, is particularly strong because of Mars being conjunct the sun and the moon, and the opposition to Uranus. And there's also a trine to Neptune, which is bringing in a much, a very beautiful, a very supportive, intuitive, spiritual element as well, which is going to help us to see things in a much more, I would like to say, elevated, but more awakened state. So this is a big this is a big energy weekend, and you know, I think we can, although astrology is not always predictive, it tells us about the energies that we are working with. I think we can expect to see some big shifts, a lot of people letting go of stuff that they've been holding on to for a long time. A lot of people where they've come fixed in their ways of thinking might be forced to look at things in an entirely new way. There's a lot of release, as I say, elimination, and there's going to be a lot of emotions flowing, because Scorpio is a very emotional sign. But obviously, as emotions flow, if tears flow, it's very cleansing as well. So, you know, that is a good thing, even if it can be painful at the time. And really, yeah, anything that has been unseen, unacknowledged, repressed, pushed down is likely to come up, to be seen and to be dealt with. So a weekend of awakening awaits us. But for those who are already on the path, I think a lot of us have been through a lot of this process already. So it is possibly more about being available and around to support those who are just starting to awaken, because that is why we came here. We not only came to awaken ourselves, but to hold the energy and hold the light and support other people who are going to go through that same experience, and we know what it's like. So I hope that's useful. If you've got any comments, I'd love to hear them. And yeah, it's just a case of holding the light, you know, doing the work. We're all doing the work by listening to videos like this, and even with me sharing information like this, we are doing the work already. So yeah, just keep doing it, really. And if you're interested in my galactic readings, my astrology, I offer tarot as well, oracle readings and energy work. Please check out my website, spiralbright.co.uk, and you can also sign up for my newsletter there if you'd like to hear from me on a monthly basis, just kind of telling you what the main kind of energies are feeling like. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.